On this week's episode of Motivational Minutes, Mandy McEwen of Mod Girl Marketing shares the importance of making your profile stand out on LinkedIn. Well, listen, one other area too I want to talk about, because it's all about communication in general too, about how people communicate on LinkedIn. That's another area where, to the other point about how the other social media platforms allow a lot more sort of freedom, and there's a place to be a bit more provocative. The communication on LinkedIn, if you're using it for a professional tool, as a professional tool, requires strategy and skill. It's very different. And if you would talk a little bit about, as I saw you mentioning things about, the strategy behind email skills and writing it and making sure that you're using it as a proper platform on LinkedIn when you're communicating through email. You have a whole thing on this, so share a little bit about email on LinkedIn.
And you mean messaging? Messaging on LinkedIn?
Messaging, right? The communication, or even just
Okay.
emailing. Yeah, just email in general, actually. But on LinkedIn specifically, I guess if you were to do some direct messaging to people, it would sort of be an email. But yeah, email in general, that communication.
So when it comes to LinkedIn and building relationships, I'm a huge fan. If I have a 3-step system I share all the time, and this is really only super relevant if people are active, if they're commenting, or if they're posting content. But what you want to do is you want to engage with people first. So let's say you're trying to get on someone's radar. I don't care if they're someone you're trying to collaborate with, if it's someone that you're trying to get attention for a job, if it's someone that you want to talk to be a mentor, someone you're trying to sell, it doesn't matter. But what you want to do is you want to get on their radar ahead of time before you even reach out and send a connection request. And so you engage with them, meaning you react to their posts if they're posting, you comment on their posts. If they're leaving comments on other people's posts, you go and you comment on their comments. You like their comments. Because what that does is it gets people like, who is this person? Who's this person that's engaging with me? Don't be obnoxious about it, and only do it if it's relevant. Don't go and do this on a post that was like 6 months old. That's weird. But keep it obviously relevant. And then you wait a few days, then you send a custom connection request on LinkedIn. So, hey, Corey, loved your post on ABC. I agree with what you said about XYZ. If you'd be open to it, I'd like to connect here. Something like that. So mention their post, toot their horn, boost their ego up a little bit. Everyone loves that. And then send the connection request. And then that's how you start the dialogue. So instead of just coming out of the gate completely cold, they already kind of are familiar with you ahead of time because you were engaging with them. Now, if they're not active at all on LinkedIn, you can still do this, but you need to find something personal. So look at their profile. Maybe they went to college somewhere that, is familiar with you, or you went, or have a friend that went there, whatever. Maybe they had a job that was intriguing. Maybe they said something on their profile that made you laugh. It doesn't matter. Find something so you can personalize that connection request, and then send that connection request, and then mention that. So it can literally be something so silly and simple. Like I do this all the time, and I'm like, hey, your line about XYZ literally made me laugh. Or hey, I saw you were in Fort Bragg with your dog last weekend. Like, I was just there too with my dog a few weeks ago. So completely not related to business at all. Okay. Hey, I saw your Tupac quote. Like, one of my favorite ones that I put in my presentation literally is like, hey girl, I saw your post that Bonnie David, my connection, shared about your Tupac quote. I love Tupac, thought it was great, would love to connect with another female, businesswoman. Like, random, right? And so anytime that you can stand out and personalize that, you want to do that. And then you start the conversation, start asking questions, like, just be a real human being. Like, you and I are sitting here talking right now, Corey. Like, do that on LinkedIn. Like, people overthink it. They're like, oh God, I don't know what to say. And they come across weird, and like, because you're overthinking it. Like, just pretend like you're talking to someone in person. It doesn't have to be that complicated. And the same goes for when you're reaching out to email. So I like combining LinkedIn with email. Like, if they don't respond, find their email address. Hey, I just sent you a LinkedIn connection request, a few days ago. Love what you're doing at XYZ company. Again, personalize it. Saw that you ABC, whatever, on your profile. So you can, the same thing I'm talking about with LinkedIn carries over to email too. Like, it's all about just being human, and the more personal you can get, the better, because we are all getting bombarded every single day on LinkedIn and email as professionals. We're getting spammed like crazy, and people are using automation. And so they're just going through a list and bam, 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 right? So when you actually take time to look into this person and their company, and you personalize things, your messages, your emails, you're going to stand out, and your chances of getting responses are way higher than if you were to just look like everyone else.
Subscribe today for more inspiration on the go.